Hi, I'm Lauren Levitas, and I'm a biology teacher at Lindblom Math and Science Academy. I want to share with you the unit I've been developing this summer that's based around infectious diseases and the immune system. So, in this unit, students are introduced to the phenomena of different diseases that impact lots of non human organisms. So, some mammals, some invertebrates, some plants. And they're kind of asked to come up with a lot of questions that they have, which we'll probably categorize into thinking about what diseases are, what causes disease, how disease spreads, how it's transmitted, and then how can you treat disease, cure disease, things like that. And then maybe something around thinking about behaviors. Hopefully, they have some questions based on all the social distancing we've been doing. So, I want to share a few things that we've been working on here. The phenomena is kind of the first lesson, and then this is the first kind of CT lesson, lesson 3. Students look at transmission types. So in this model, you can see it's kind of an offshoot of the virus model in the models library. Students can change the transmission type. So the default's touch. They can make it airborne, which looks like a radius of transmission, or they can say it's neither of those and instead look at a vector. And you see these little, mosquitoes or ticks that can transmit it. Or they can say it's indirect. And you see these pools appear, kind of an allusion to food or water contamination and transmission. So students can kind of figure out some things about transmission. In the next one, they look at kind of 4 factors of spread. So one of them is the duration, how long the disease remains and is contagious in an organism. So they can look at like a shorter duration versus a longer duration and play around with it. And kind of collect some data over here. And so they do that for 4 and kind of come up with these 4 major factors. They look at the immune system, so from thinking about transmission and what happens, they kind of maybe hopefully think about how there's organisms that can maybe some of them are more naturally fighting a disease than others. Some die, some recover. So we start talking about innate immunities, and then we get to adaptive immunities, and they can make the viruses. They can put antibodies in and set it up to go. So they see, when the antibodies are there, the virus can't survive. Or they can, we can turn all these antibodies down and then make the virus. And even though we have lots of other antibodies, we don't have yellow ones, so the yellow virus is spreading. And then there's kind of 2 other pieces. This one is a treatment phase. So after thinking about the immune system, we move on to thinking about treatment. We think about vaccines, we think about antibiotics and antivirals, and students can actually do their own experiment here where they look at different treatments. One of them is no treatment, vaccine, and then a variety of other treatments, one of which is a placebo, doesn't do anything at all. Can collect some data here and then actually make an argument for which treatment they think is most effective. And then kind of the last part of the unit will be thinking about behaviors. There's actually some evidence out there of organisms that do things like socially distance based on pheromones or other signals that they get. So they'll actually be able to kind of use this model and NetTangoize it to think about what would happen if the organism isolated itself? What would happen if the organisms were in different social groups and they would only correspond to the ones in their own social group and avoid the other social groups? Things like that they can kind of pull out and design some of the code themselves with NetTango. So I look forward to talking to you. I hope you come visit.